Every morning, Beverly woke up in her cozy house on the outskirts of town, where the sun gilded the rooftops and the sounds of birds filled the air. At 68, she considered herself energetic enough to manage household chores and tend to her beloved garden. But in recent months, she had been feeling an odd sense of fatigue, as though her energy was slipping through her fingers. Minor ailments, muscle weakness, forgetfulness, mild nausea. She attributed them to age and the unpredictable weather. She brushed off suggestions to check her health, believing that with her lifestyle, illness wasn't something to worry about. After all, her kitchen was a true kingdom of cleanliness, where everything appeared perfect. Her favorite pans, time-tested containers, and neatly arranged spice shelves. One day, her grandson Alex, who had just completed a course in toxicology and environmental medicine, came to visit. He carefully examined the kitchen, praised Beverly's neatness, but his gaze lingered on some items. Not wanting to worry her, he gently asked how long she had been using certain things. Beverly proudly shared her loyalty to her belongings. The frying pan had served her for over 15 years. The plastic containers were faithful companions for storing meals, and aluminum foil helped preserve the freshness of roasted vegetables. Alex listened with respect, but a shadow of concern crossed his face. Later that evening, as they sat at the table, Alex cautiously explained that even the most familiar items could sometimes be a source of slow poisoning for the body. He told her that after the age of 65, the body's detoxifying processes slow down, and what once went unnoticed can now accumulate and harm health. Beverly listened in surprise. She had always been taught to trust in cleanliness, order, and tidiness, but now it seemed that simply washing hands and wiping surfaces wasn't enough. She needed to know what exactly was hidden in the things she used every day. Alex suggested they conduct a small kitchen audit together. They agreed that everything would happen calmly, without rush or fear. The goal wasn't to scare her, but to help her body rid itself of invisible enemies. For the first time in a long while, Beverly felt a strange sense of relief. Perhaps her ailments weren't a sentence of aging, but merely a sign of changes her body was craving. She agreed to start this journey step by step, trusting her grandson's care and experience. The next morning, Alex arrived with a notebook and pen. They decided to carefully and thoughtfully go through the kitchen, taking their time. The first items under suspicion were the old non-stick frying pans. Beverly showed her favorite pans, which had developed small scratches and wear spots over the years. Alex explained that such pans often contain PFAS, substances that do not break down in nature or in the human body. They accumulate over time, affecting organ function, and are especially dangerous for older adults because weakened detoxifying systems can no longer handle this load. Beverly listened attentively. It was hard for her to believe that her trusted frying pans, on which she had cooked pancakes for her grandchildren and prepared Sunday meals, could be harmful. But Alex's explanation was convincing, and she decided without hesitation to part with them. Instead, they ordered a set of heavy, durable cast-iron pans, true kitchen companions that, according to Alex, even strengthen health over time by adding small amounts of beneficial iron to the food. Next, their attention turned to the plastic containers. Beverly took out a box of mismatched lids and containers of different sizes. Some were scratched, others had become cloudy. Alex gently explained the dangers of BPA and BPS, chemicals that are released, especially when heating food in such containers. He explained that the hormonal systems of older people become more vulnerable, and such toxins can significantly exacerbate heart problems, thyroid issues, and even lead to weight gain. Beverly sighed, recalling how often she had reheated soups and porridge in these very containers in the microwave. A slight sense of unease rose within her, but Alex quickly reassured her that there was no reason to panic. The body is capable of recovery once the harmful source is removed. Together, they packed the old containers into a box for recycling and agreed to replace them with glass jars and containers. Alex suggested that regular trays from jam or pickles could be a great, inexpensive, and safe alternative for storing food. As they tidied up, Beverly felt not anxiety, but a strange sense of encouragement. She realized that taking care of herself meant not only taking vitamins or exercising, but also protecting her body from invisible enemies. This process wasn't about destroying her familiar routine. On the contrary, it was a renewal, an act of care and a step towards a more conscious quality of life. On the third day, Alex and Beverly gathered again in the kitchen. Their task now was to identify another invisible enemy, aluminum. Beverly brought out her old pots, worn baking trays, and rolls of aluminum foil. These items had been part of her kitchen for so many years that the thought of them being harmful seemed almost sacrilegious. Alex patiently explained that numerous studies have linked the regular intake of aluminum into the body with the risk of developing cognitive disorders and even memory diseases. Beverly frowned. She had already noticed her own forgetfulness and didn't want to accept the idea that she might have contributed to these changes. Alex gently emphasized that the issue wasn't with her, but with the lack of information that had been unavailable to most people for a long time. He explained that it is especially dangerous to use aluminum cookware when preparing acidic dishes, such as tomato sauce or lemon marinades. This is when the metal leaches into the food. Without further words, they packed the aluminum pots and trays into a separate box for recycling. Alex suggested replacing them with stainless steel, cast iron, or heat-resistant glass. Soon, Beverly ordered beautiful new pots and a lovely glass baking dish online. There was a faint sadness in her eyes, but also a sense of determination. She understood that taking care of herself meant being ready to part with familiar things if they no longer served her health. Once they were done with the aluminum, it was time to take a look under the sink. Beverly opened the cabinet, filled with colorful bottles of cleaning products. Alex carefully began reading the labels, marking everything that contained the words dangerous, toxic, or corrosive. He explained that as people age, their lungs become more sensitive, and every breath of fumes from harsh cleaning products harms the body, building up inflammation and promoting the development of respiratory diseases. Beverly looked at the familiar bottles with disbelief. It seemed strange that something she used to clean her home for comfort and coziness could actually harm her health. However, when Alex suggested replacing all the harsh chemicals with a simple mixture of vinegar and water, adding a few drops of lemon essential oil, she was happy to try it. Together, they made a list of natural cleaning products and even prepared the first one, a clear bottle with a light lemon scent. That day, Beverly felt an unusual sense of lightness for the first time in a long while. Her home was becoming not only clean, but safe. Every step was a step toward living long, joyfully, and freely, maintaining mental clarity and physical strength. The final yet equally important step for Beverly was reevaluating her approach to the everyday details, habits, the home environment, and even the choice of fabrics and interior items. Alex suggested they take a close look at the bedroom, the place where a person spends a third of their life, and thus it should be as safe and conducive to health as possible. They started with the bed linens. Alex explained that synthetic fabrics can release harmful vapors, especially when the body heats up during the night. He recommended choosing natural cotton or linen without harsh dyes. Beverly sighed as she remembered her favorite bright pink polyester blanket, but she understood that taking care of herself was more important than sticking to her color preference. Together, they ordered new bedding, light, soft to the touch, almost inviting peaceful sleep. Next, they turned their attention to air fresheners and candles. It turned out that many of them, especially those with artificial scents, fill the air with harmful substances. Alex explained that instead, they could use natural beeswax candles or essential oils in a ceramic diffuser. Beverly gladly chose lavender oil, which reminded her of the summer spent in her parents' garden. The next item on their list was carpets. Soft and cozy looking, they often accumulate dust, allergens, and even toxins from synthetic fibers. Alex suggested regularly cleaning carpets or replacing them with lighter, natural coverings. Beverly paused as the carpet in the living room had been a gift from her late husband. With a heavy heart but understanding of the necessity, she decided to send it for professional cleaning and make an effort to ventilate the house more often. As they went through these changes, Beverly gradually learned to see that taking care of herself wasn't about rejecting the past, but about opening a new chapter in life. She felt how more light, freshness, and breathing space appeared around her, as if the old fears, fatigue, and worries were leaving along with the old things. At the end, Alex praised her for her courage. He reminded her that each step she took wasn't just about physical cleaning, but about showing love for herself respect for her years, and wisdom. Beverly felt proud. She was no longer just a passive participant in her life. She had become the creator of her own space, her own protector and support. When that evening Beverly lit a natural candle and lay down in her new bed, her heart was filled with peace, gratitude, and quiet joy for having chosen herself.